Almost 2 years ago, I uploaded a video titled, Who Are the Hunters? And like everything I've produced up until now, it was just something that interested me. Very little was discussed about them in the game, so after researching everything that I could find on them, I realized that I wasn't alone with these questions. There were so many active theories on them, but most didn't line up with my understanding of the story at that point. So I decided to pull together some of the larger theories out there, including a few of my own, and talk about the likelihood of each of them. I had no idea that others would find this as interesting as I did. It was only my second lore video, and this one was more speculation than lore itself. A little under a year later, I released an update to this video, talking to some of the feedback concerning the first video, but also a number of new theories that had come up since the release of the Division 2. And here we are today, another 12 months on. This video is more of a small update to the series of videos that have been running for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, the Hunters have taken an odd turn in the story since they were first released in the survival expansion of the original game. The Hunters seem to have become more of a puzzle element to the game than part of the story, so there isn't actually a huge amount more that we have to work with. However, thanks to one keen-eyed member on Discord, there may be a little something more that we have to go on. I receive hundreds of theories and images every month from people interested in finding out more about the Division story. Most of them I've seen or talked about before, but every now and then something catches me by surprise. A Discord user that goes by the name of Monarch sent me some information he'd been compiling regarding the new hunters that we were finding after the release of Warlords of New York. I'll be the first to admit I wasn't hugely excited at first, but then he sent me through this image. This is a picture of Warlords of New York hunter, Angel. While this alone may not seem very significant, over time Monarch sent me more images like this, from other hunters he was able to take down, time and time again, the same tattoo. So what does this mean? It could mean absolutely nothing. These could just be duplicated models, with zero significance around the tattoo. But the devs in Ubisoft games love leaving little tidbits and clues around that could lead to a greater story, so we investigated further. Fortunately, Monarch used to be part of a US Milsim roleplay group, and had some knowledge in this area, but also has a contact with ties to the army. On top of this, I ran this past a number of other people with experience in the area, including Twitter user James Hurt. Their conclusions were all the same. A lot of military tattoos represent the brotherhood they had in their time of service, or are from a certain battle that he or she lost friends in, or it could be something more personal to the individual. But there appears to be military ranks on either side, and there was no variation between each hunter. They confirmed these as US Army ranks, or more specifically United States Army First Sergeant, Private, and Private First Class. I went back through my footage of Division 1 hunters, and the first hunters seen in the Division 2, some of which is playing on screen right now. But in both cases, their arms seem to be covered down to the forearm, so I couldn't confirm that they too have the same tattoos. But I have since found a number of images to the earlier Division 2 hunters who do have these. A first-class sergeant serves as the senior enlisted advisor to the commander of a medium to large unit of Marines, such as a platoon or company. As the senior enlisted advisor, first sergeants hold the responsibility of being the main bridge between enlisted Marines and their company commander. They may be United States Special Operations Command, or more specifically, either Delta Force, SEALs, Special Operations Group, or Green Berets, but they also could be a Black Ops unit. Special Operations Group or Green Berets can operate alone due to the nature of their missions. If the hunters are in fact from these units within the military, this could explain the reason behind the guerrilla warfare tactics and how they combat other units, and why they dress in plain clothes. Could even coincide to other links within the Tom Clancy universe, like the Ghosts or Rainbow Six. Private military contractors are often made up of people with previous military experience, so it's no surprise to see that a number of Black Tusk are also sporting tattoos. However, what is surprising is the number of Black Tusk who have exactly the same tattoo as the hunters, all the way down to the ranks and the image in the center. Riflemen, Grenadiers, Engineers, the bosses in the invaded Capitol Hill and Viewpoint Museum missions, even Brenner. So what does this all mean? Well, it tells us a couple of things. The hunters originated from the US, or at the very least come from a US military background. Yes, you could loosely theorize that the Russians had them get these tattoos to provide them some sort of undercover illusion that they are Americans, but the earlier hunters didn't even show them, and to have the exact same tattoos as the Black Tusk seems unlikely. so I'm going to discredit the Hunters are Russian Special Forces theory for now. It also seems to show that they have some sort of ties to the Black Tusk. At the very least, they come from the same US military unit. But they could in fact be a part of the Black Tusk. The Black Tusk we come across in the division are from a more specialised branch of the overall company, called the BTSU, or Black Tusk Special Unit. Maybe the Hunters are a special unit within this special unit. The Black Tusk Super Special Unit, if you like. Or, what if they attempted to gain employment through the Black Tusk with the rest of their squad, but were deemed too aggressive or generally unsuitable for the general cohesion of one of their specialist units, and they were instead brought on as a hired gun to take out former and current division agents? This actually may explain their obsession with collecting agent watches. These are essentially their paycheck. However, this doesn't exactly write off the third wave, or contingency theory either. The Hunters are obviously highly trained forces, particularly in guerrilla warfare tactics. They use the same tech as the division, if not slightly better. And as far as the tattoo goes, maybe they just have a similar history to the Black Tusk, but took a different direction after their time in the military. I realise this has probably only raised even more questions, but this has given us a little more to work with. Given the direction that the Hunters have taken since the Division 1, there really hasn't been too much to work with. Let's face it, when we think about the Hunters' involvement in the story up until this point, basically they've become nothing more than a puzzle to solve in order to acquire a new mask. And I do wonder, if we had been given their full story by now, would they have long since faded into oblivion? But at this point, I want to hand this over to you. What do you think this tattoo means? Is there anything else you can share on the Hunters that could lead to further theories on their origins and objectives? Personally, I'm wanting to dig a little deeper into someone that we saved early on in DC, Vikram Malik. I think there is a lot more to the story, and I've seen enough to think that he could have some sort of involvement with the Hunters, but time will tell. Otherwise, I must thank Monarch for his research on this and all the information he provided, and also James Hurt for his feedback. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!